You know, you might look at this object and say, oh my God, what have they got that hanging up for? It's just an old dirty piece of cloth. It's full of holes. Take it down, put it away, keep it if you have to, but certainly don't show it. But in fact, this is a very meaningful object. It represents a kind of blending of the old African religion, animism, and Islam, which has dominated this part of the world for several hundred years. This is a hunter's shirt. It's made of strip-woven cloth, which is typical in Africa, and this kind of cloth is woven by men. That's the width of the loom from there to there. It's in stripes. Originally, it was white, the natural color of the cotton, woven with black or indigo stripes. Now it has been darkened and discolored by age. But the wonderful thing, the interesting thing, the puzzling thing, are these little packages that are tied on to the shirt, not only in the front, but also in the back. This is the museum tag. These are made of leather, with cloth or parchment of leather inside the little frame. Inside the parchment or leather or cloth is a prayer from the Quran, a little piece of paper with a prayer from the Quran. Now, why would you wear a lot of packages on your shirt with a prayer from the Quran? For protection, for magical protection. And it's the idea of magic that takes us back to animism. The hunter is a killer of animals. The spirits of those animals live on, and they are in the bush or the forest. So that when the hunter goes into the forest, he is surrounded, his spirit is surrounded by the spirits of all the animals he has killed in that bush, in that forest. So he needs protection from him. He needs the protection of Allah. There are various kinds of seats in Africa. Your basic seat is the ground. Most people just sit on the ground. Another kind of seat is a mat, woven of cotton or fiber or raffia or plated. Another kind of seat is made of wood, a stool, or even a chair with arms. And some of those are imitations of Western marbles. But this is an Ashante stool, Ashante from Ghana, which is a famous kind of object. The Ashante stool always has a rectangular base and built up in a series of layers, and then it has a pedestal. There's always a center column, and if it's square, it's a man's stool. If it's round, it's a woman's stool. This part can take various forms. It always has a curved seat, sometimes carved in open work. This one, notice the wear on this. This is something you always want to look for in African art. Does it show the signs of wear? And that's why you never want to clean or sand or, heaven help us, remove the pigment from the surface of an African work of art or piece of decorative arts. The stool has a very special meaning for the Ashante. A man or a woman early in life acquires a stool, and it is his or her stool, his or hers alone. Nobody else ever sits on it. If it's the stool of an important man, it's blackened when he dies and put in the stool room. The stool for a woman would have a round pedestal, or like a column. I am tempted to sit on this stool so I can show you how it works, but I'm not going to, and I'll tell you why. An Ashante stool contains the soul of the man or woman who owned it. In this case, it's a man. So if I sat on it, I would be sitting on the soul of that man. A stool such as this is not in use. It's turned on its side, so an evil spirit cannot sit on it. You know, the use of dolls is worldwide and stretches back and forward through time. They vary in form from very realistic dolls, as we sometimes use in the West, to very abstract dolls. This is quite an abstract form, and this is made and used by the Ashante people of Ghana. It represents a child, a baby, but does it really? These are the breasts of a mature woman. No arms, really just cylinders, just a cylindrical body, a navel, and then just a little round base. This, of course, is our base, not the base that came with it. It always has a long, beautiful neck with many rings on it, and then it has a round head, perfectly round head. It's said, or I've been told, that Ashante women will caress the heads of their babies to encourage them to assume a round form. It is considered most beautiful by the Ashante. Notice that this one has beautifully carved eyebrows, joining up with a lovely nose, closed eyes, little scarification marks on the face, and a very small, gentle little mouth. When I turn it around, you see some incised carving on the back, and these are Islamic. So we know that the owner of this doll was an Islamic woman. The purpose for this doll is to induce pregnancy. Marriage is a very important value in African families. If an Ashante woman cannot conceive a child, it's very, very serious for the couple. In fact, the man can divorce her for that. So if she has trouble conceiving, she goes to the diviner. He tells her to go and have an akwiba carved by the village carver. After she's done that, she treats it as if it's a living child. For whatever reason, call it magic, call it psychology, maybe she begins to feel motherly feelings and so relaxes in general, and she is able to conceive. But by all accounts, it works.